good couple weeks since we've been gone. Georgia won the SEC championship. Playoffs were announced. The Falcons still suck. Georgia Tech's being blown up at the seams currently. Hawks are fun, but they're still in the play-in. And the Braves are re-signing some players, but not the big splash we're expecting. I'm your host, Red Rocket, joined by, as always, Parker. And for the first time, we know him as Uncle Chris, but Coach Walker coaching football and golf over there at Kennesaw Mountain High School in Georgia.
I'm not doing golf anymore. I'm doing baseball now.
Oh, you're doing baseball now?
Man and mini
Yep.
drink.
Let's
Switched
go.
back to baseball. I've, coached baseball for a while and then went into golf and now I'm back to baseball this year.
That's what we like to see. But this is Georgia Sports with Georgia boys here. And we got a lot to talk about. I was here last week solo, covered a lot of stuff. But, actually we're going to start with Georgia Tech. Did not make the ACC championship game. Disappointing finish. Parker, you're our main GT guy. What is your overall outlook as the season as a whole, real quick? Like, was it a success? Was it not a success?
It was definitely a success for a team that won 3 games, like just over 2 years ago. What we were able to do now with the talent that we had on the roster, it's definitely a win. It's just when you look at it in the grand scheme where we should be, you can't help but think that, like, if you told me that we would win 9 seasons, go to the biggest non-playoff bowl game, I would think you're crazy. But look at it now, you can't help but feel a little disappointed just with how it all played out in the end. So It's really 50-50 there.
Haynes King ending up 10th in the Heisman voting.
Yeah. Lots to look forward to in the future. A lot of that was just taken away, which we'll cover in a minute, but it's recoverable.
I think he would have been higher up. He should have been higher up in the Heisman voting.
Oh, he should have gone to New York if you ask me, but
I think if they'd won a few extra games, he would have had a better shot, but definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give it a success. Lots to look forward to. There's a lot of spots that are now open for stuff we need to fill, especially with the entire offensive staff. Now finding a new quarterback, we'll get to that in a minute. But
yeah, well,
I think that he'll get something done.
Let's do it. Well, let's hurry go into it right now. Buster Faulkner has left to go follow Jim Summerall at the University of Florida, and it looks like he might be taking Aaron Philo with him, the backup quarterback, who has only started 1 game. This Parker's pouring one out for our buddy there. But Uncle Chris, you're a coach, and you see, especially now in the modern college football, all these kids flying around. This kid's reportedly getting $3 million to, I guess, contend at Florida. We just heard DJ Lagway is transferring. We don't know who else they might be bringing in. Do you think this is kind of a crazy thing? Because he's gonna have the starting job at Georgia Tech next year.
I think it might have a lot to do with just it was Buster Faulkner, leaving and probably decided to chase him and stay with him. I think that has a lot to do, of course, the money. And from what I've heard, that they Georgia Tech actually offered to match the money, and
we did.
He still.
We offered
but
to
I
match
think,
Buster as well.
And I think that because he already committed to go with Buster, he's just sticking with going with Buster. And maybe it's the chance to play in the SEC. Obviously, probably has a lot to do it too. So, a little more exposure at Florida than they're probably going to get at Tech on a national level. And if he has a lot of success,
I disagree.
I don't know if it's necessarily like the smartest move, but it's just a risk he's taking, and it's $3 million too. So, I mean,
Parker, your thoughts?
All right, I have a few. All right, so one, in terms of national attention, I can understand. Just goes to show Georgia Tech's not going to be able to do anything until something is done about NIL. It doesn't matter what happens. We're not going to be able to do anything about it. 2, I disagree that he'll have more attention on the national stage. He could have made the playoffs next year. We're in the ACC. We have a much better chance than a rebuilding Florida right now.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense. He's from
It's
Georgia too.
Yeah.
Why would you want to go to a rebuilding program with an unproven first-time Power Four coach? I just don't get it. You had everything you needed here. You still had Winky at Tech, who also it wasn't just Faulkner who made you. It was also Winky. Same thing with Haynes King. I just would have liked to believe he would have stayed. It doesn't really make sense to me that he would leave. But I
I
mean,
mean,
he wanted to
I
have a great.
understand what you're saying, but as far as the national, I'm not talking about Florida itself as a national brand as much as it's the SEC and as much attention as they get through ESPN and everything. And that's the only thing I mean with the nationally,
I mean, but
and
with the way the SEC is right now, it's going to take a few years for them to get competitive. Like, who cares
I don't
about,
disagree.
say, the Missouri quarterback? No one cares about him. That's right. That's right about where I think he's going to be over there compared to
Bo
a place at Tech.
Perbula.
Yeah, I don't even know his name. A
So
place
let
like
me
Tech.
ask you this: are they going to hire Chip Kelly as the OC? Because that's the rumor
Here's what I
at
think, and
Georgia
also
Tech,
what my dad
and
thinks.
that might have had a little bit to do it also, so he can stick with the
Here,
offense he was running with Faulkner.
here's what my dad thinks about that too, because I just talked to him and I agree with him. So he thinks we brought Chip Kelly in for national attention. Because I think Chip Kelly is just going to use us as another stepping stone so he can get another head coaching job. This is the kind of guy he is. But if you can, I think he brought him in, Brent Key brought him in to show, like, hey, Chip Kelly is interested in this job. There's a lot of big names that we've interviewed so far. My favorite one being the UNLV offensive coordinator. So I
Yes.
don't think we're going to go with Chip Kelly because if we were going to hire him, I think we would have. It
So
looks,
is there anybody? I don't know. I'm not. Y'all know I don't follow a lot of Georgia Tech
yeah.
stuff, but is there an OC somewhere else at like a Group of Five that's got a quarterback attached to him that they could? Because that seems to be the thing. Also, just what Florida did.
Yeah.
Florida
Yeah.
hires the OC from somewhere else, brings a quarterback with them.
Yeah.
Could they do that?
I mean, I haven't really dived deep in the names. There's a lot of great thing is why I'm not worried about Philo is Philo would have been perfect for us. But there's so many the way the transfer portal is now, as much as I'd love to have a homegrown guy we raised through our system, that's just not really gonna happen. Like another thing my dad loved, he loves that Old Dominion quarterback. That's just like Haynes King
Colton
plays just like
Joseph.
Haynes King.
He'd
Yep.
be a
And
good shout.
with the way
Say
that
that's
it
somebody
is
they
right
can go
now,
after.
the way it is right now, hell, you could go and make a push for Lagway if you really want to. Who I think is a pretty good quarterback. He just
I
Florida was
heard
never.
that Buster Faulkner doesn't like Lagway.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
why he was
that half
gone.
of that's why
That's
he's
why he's
gone.
in the portal.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where he'll end up. It's somewhere not as good.
Yeah, but it's just like I'm not too worried about finding a good quarterback. We also just brought in another 4-star who, at this point, hey, maybe we have this 4-star from Louisiana. We have another guy, Knowles. He's really good. At this point, do we even need to go to the portal, or should we just say, all right, we're going to fight it out between you three, and whoever gets it gets it? I could see Key doing that, but I think this is the sign of a great coach because look at Saban, look at Kirby. How long do those guys usually stay around those coaches for more than like 3 years before they go take a bigger job and then eventually a head coach job?
Yeah.
I think this is a good sign. I think he's going to get a good offensive coordinator. Whether it be he stays with Winky, who looks like he's going to be calling the plays versus BYU in the Pop-Tart Bowl, or he goes with somebody else like Chip Kelly or the UNLV offensive coordinator. The way it is now, it's way easier to reload than it is, or it is just way easier to reload, than build yourself back up,
So is it more likely that they'll make Winky the permanent OC if they like they already
I
have
think,
on staff
see
with
why
the
not.
quarterbacks?
like I was saying earlier, I think if he wanted Chip Kelly or another offensive coordinator, it'd already almost be a done deal, but he's still interviewing people. I think he wants to see because Winky was the guy who made King, and he also has helped develop Philo. So I think he wants to see what Winky can give in this bowl game against the top 15 team. And I think he's going to make his decision after that. Because Winky, it looks like he's going to stay no matter what. But,
Right.
who knows what's going on in Key's mind right now. The program's kind of not falling apart, but it's just being torn
It's
apart.
not falling apart. He's got it going. He's setting
Yeah,
his.
yeah.
He's a Georgia Tech guy. He's got his culture how he wants it.
It's just kind of being
He's
up
a little
to
rough around the edges, if you ask me, but he believes in Georgia Tech, and I think as long as he believes in it, the players are going to believe in it, and he'll get more people in there because he's doing a good job recruiting as far as the local talent and everything. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. NIL. So that gives me confidence he's going to get some guys to come over. 2 million of it's going to be used on coaching. Everything else is said to be used on players. So we should get a good quarterback. All the receivers, because I'm hearing our top receiver Canyon might leave. Same thing with Stockton. So
It's tough. It's tough. It's definitely gonna. We're gonna see how this team responds though. Real quickly, do you think Tech beats BYU in the Pop Tart Bowl?
no, I think we could go in and we could give them a run for their money, but I just think BYU is the better team overall. But I think as long as we keep it competitive, that's a win. Honestly,
I don't know enough about BYU to like. There's so many players that opt out of the bowls.
Yeah.
So I assume is Haynes King playing in the bowl?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think
As long as he's playing, I think you offensively have a chance.
Oh yeah.
I'm not that impressed with BYU.
Yeah.
Like when I watched them play. So I think Georgia Tech actually does have a chance against them, especially because I think Georgia Tech will be excited to be there.
Yeah,
And
I think
True.
BYU may be a little butthurt to be there.
60-40 BYU, but we have just as much of a chance as anyone, honestly.
Give me Haynes King. Finished 10th in the Heisman voting. Underrated. Wasn't whatever. But I think Tech will win it there. But let's move to Athens, Georgia. Georgia, your SEC champions. Uncle Chris, quick thoughts on this Georgia team after that dominant win over Alabama. Can they win it all, and are they really the only SEC team that probably, realistically, could win?
I don't think they're the only SEC team that can realistically win. My dark horse would actually be the winner of them and Ole Miss because I think they're going to play. If Ole Miss gets lucky and beats them, I think Ole Miss could actually make a run because even in spite of the old Lane Kiffin situation, but I do think Georgia is the favorite to make it to the national championship game on that side of that bracket. I think they got I think they're better than Ohio State. I think their defense, they're a very balanced team. Stockton's a good quarterback, and of course Kirby and his experience in the playoffs and everything. He's not gonna get out coached this year. He got they had a little situation in the Sugar Bowl last year and looked like they got out coached a little bit, but this year he's been doing that to other teams and pulling off the fake punts and things like that. So I think Kirby will have them ready to go.
It was a very interesting game against Alabama because it looked like the Georgia defense of old. They were able to run the ball just like they did against Tech. Tech played that game close. Of course, rivalry is always tough, but they were finally able to run the ball and not having to let Gunner do all the hard work. But if that Georgia defense shows up, it's going to be hard. And when the rankings first came out, I was confused why they weren't number 2. But then they should be thanking the committee because they now get a head coachless Ole Miss or Tulane in round 2 coming off a bye to get ready for Ohio State. So I think,
it'll be Ole Miss.
well, maybe. But I think the Georgia should be licking their chops at the draw they got. And I think they can contend against Ohio State because Julian Sain and them boys are not tested. Georgia is tested. Probably the most tested team in the country.
Mm.
Well, definitely. Playing in the SEC and everything. And they, I think they're the most balanced team offensively, defensively.
I think they're the best overall team in the nation right now. Definitely the most stable. Yeah. If Kiffin was at Ole Miss, I said it one time, I'll say it 100 times. I think it's very hard to beat a good team twice in a season. So, who knows what happens if Bama and Georgia face off again. If Kiffin was at Ole Miss, I think he would get his get back. But even with this new format, I really don't think there's that many teams who are going to win it. I don't think Indiana is as good as people like to say they are. I think it just comes down between like Georgia,
Or they're
Ohio
doing
State,
15 games in a row.
Texas Tech is all as good as they say they are. It's just I think it's going to be Georgia's year again. Unfortunately, I hate to say it.
Maybe. We'll talk more about them when we know their matchup. But let's quickly shift to the Braves. A lot of signings. I talked about last time we traded Nick Allen for Mauricio Dubin and a
Dubon.
utility guy. We re-signed Iglesias, and we just signed Robert Suarez off the Padres. So good old 8th, 9th switcheroo closer style that really helped a struggling bullpen in those late innings. And then we just signed how do I say his first name? Hae-Sun Kim to a 1-year, 20-minute deal. So a lot of small, not super impactful signings yet, but I like what we're doing. What are you thinking so far from Walt Weiss, Uncle Chris? First off, do you like the Walt Weiss hire? Do you like what they're doing?
I do like the Walt Weiss hire. I don't think he is. See, everybody was worried that he was just going to be Snitker Part 2, and I don't think he is. I think he's a little more fiery. I like that he's already had experience as a manager. I think this team is not a rebuild, and I think if you had a younger, inexperienced manager, it would be wrong for this team. I think this team needs an experienced manager. He also obviously knows the Braves way. He's been a part of the organization for some time now, so he understands how to get these players motivated. He doesn't have to take a whole year to learn all of his players, all of his guys. He also, he'll get in guy's face. I think that's what a lot of people didn't think. They don't think Snicker's the type of guy to get in a guy's face. But Walt Weiss will, and he's probably not going to do it in public. And then I don't think he's going to call anybody out through the press or anything like that. But behind closed doors, I guarantee you that he will get in somebody's face as he has to get in somebody's face.
Good.
And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. So I'm happy with the Walt Weiss choice as manager.
What the team lacked.
And Parker, Pete Alonso, he's out of the division. He's in Baltimore. Edwin Diaz, he's out of the division, but still in the conference with the Dodgers. But so far, there hasn't really been a big signing swing. I mean, Dylan Cease went to the Toronto for about $300 million, which leaves room for a guy like Bo Bichette. Do you think we're still in play for those big free agent guys, or is this just what we're going to do? We're going to patch some holes and hope our superstars get it done?
I mean, I don't know. We're the Braves. Why wouldn't you want to come play for us? With the way we are right now, with the team we have, we're going to be contenders. So I say throw the money. We're all in right now.
Yeah.
The only team standing our way is the Dodgers, and it's proven you don't have to be a super team to win, though it helps. So I think go all in. How much longer can we guarantee lock up some of our guys? It's right now. We've already lost a lot of players in the last few years, like Max Fried. Let's just go ahead and full send it and see if we can win another one within the decade. I'd love Bo Bichette.
Yeah, I would love Bo Bichette.
Yeah, I think we're out of the Bo Bichette market.
You think you're out of the Bo Bichette market?
I don't. Yeah, I think he's probably done for now. He may bring in another starting pitcher. As possible. I did hear today that they got a good reports back on the health of a lot of the pitchers that they already had that were hurt in the last year, and so they really have all the parts that they need to compete next year, starting pitching and wise. I wouldn't be surprised if they went and got like a Justin Verlander on like a 1-year deal just to give him to bring in that Charlie Morton type, like somebody who was just he's not going to probably have his good stuff anymore, but his being a veteran leader, uh, just to give him another arm, just to look at somebody like him. I'm not saying it has to be Verlander. I'm just saying that type of player. Um, and I think Double A is always trying to make the team better. I don't think people just think he goes, okay, I'm done. He's always going to be working to make the team better. I like bringing Kim back. I think the moves they've done off season so far is really good. I think everything is to strengthen the team as a whole. I don't think there's too many more players out there that they're going to make a splash unless there's Schwarber and Pete Alonso are off the market, so there's not a true DH. I was wondering if they would consider bringing.
No.
They're not going to get in that ballpark of money, I don't think. With Kyle Tucker, and especially since they got Yastrzemski.
Yeah.
And
I forgot Yastrzemski, who some say
so I think
he might take over fielding days when Ronnie to keep his knee healthy or something.
See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if Ronnie's going to DH more next year. I think I could see Acuna being the DH more than anybody, just to give his legs a little break. And but I did wonder if they would consider bringing Ozuna back on a 1-year deal just to be a true DH. But I don't know. I doubt it.
Hurts my heart to see Ozuna go. The big bear.
He cemented himself as a.
Yeah. Which some can't say about Freddie Freeman. But that's a topic for another day.
That's because he's had in LA.
Well,
doesn't even have as much success personally without it's just championships.
Stinkers.
Well,
but
if you look at him as a player, he will always be a Brave. Success wise, Dodgers, but
don't go in with a blank hat. Should we talk Hawks? I mean, nothing's really changed from. Do either of you have any opinions on the Hawk?
I don't watch NBA. I don't watch the Hawks.
I mean, Jalen Johnson.
Y'all two can talk about it.
I'll say this: Jalen Johnson's emerging as one of the league's best, which makes me, more reluctant for. If Trey comes back, it's going to prove a lot of things. Right now, we're in the middle of the sauce right now in terms of our record and the playoffs and our standing. But we got a really solid young core right now. Jalen Johnson might be the second coming of Jesus Christ. I don't know yet, but a lot's going to be answered if Trey Young comes back and we either get better or we.
Yeah.
Our one pick, a lot to look forward to in the future, but there's just as much questions as there are answers right now, which makes it hard to talk about.
Yeah, I talked about them last week. They were the 8th seed, and they're still the 8th seed 2 weeks later. So it's kind of they're fun to watch. They're the same, but I mean we're stuck in limbo. It's time to make a move. I'm okay with dealing Trey if we get Giannis. That's the only trade I'm okay with for getting rid of Trey Young.
I'm one of my favorite Atlanta athletes of all time, but it's hard to justify giving him a mega contract when it just doesn't feel like it's gonna, other than just to keep him in Atlanta because he's so popular, and we could use that money elsewhere, to be honest.
Yeah, what defense he brings, but hopefully the Hawks will give us some more to talk about. But now it's time for the main event. So, playoffs are coming up. We're going to do our predictions, but Uncle Chris has drafted, I'm going to put it on the screen, his own goodness, why is it not coming up? He's drafted his own conference realignment because he is a Notre Dame fan and he feels cheated out of the playoffs. So, as a Notre Dame fan, what were your emotions after the committee left Notre Dame out after having them above Miami all this time?
Well, I was very irritated, obviously, as a Notre Dame fan that they got left out. However, I wasn't mad that Miami jumped them so much as I was more upset about the whole process. And you can't go when the first when they first released the first playoff prediction, the standings, they were 8 spots ahead of Miami.
Yeah.
And then slowly Miami creeps back up, And I have my conspiracy theories on all that. I've shared that with y'all. Basically think it's an ESPN and SEC, conspiracy to make sure that certain teams get in, and they need it. There was no way that they were going to leave the ACC out. And had Virginia won instead of Duke, I don't think Miami jumps Notre Dame.
I think
the only reason, that's not even my take either. I believe it. I got that from listening to 6A The Fan, John Michaels, who's a huge Miami fan, and he said that. He said he doesn't think if Virginia wins, he says that Miami doesn't jump Notre Dame. They would have kept Notre Dame. I think they manipulate. My problem is there's a committee, and I think committees have agendas, and I just don't believe that they have the best 12 teams in there.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that. I'm sorry, but James Madison and Tulane are not going to do anything in this. I do not think Tulane is going to beat Ole Miss. Okay, and I think James Madison may lose by 70. I don't know.
Wow.
But
hopefully this will be a statement year, though, and they'll see that and they'll start leaving the Group of 5 out. But the ACC also did this.
Well, under my idea, now you can ignore all the highlights. That was just something I was.
Can you guys see the screen? Can you see the screen?
I can see the screen.
So walk us through your realignment idea. How would you change college football after? Because the playoff has not been finalized yet, so there's still time.
So in my plan, I want to. I don't like a committee. Okay, picking the 12 teams. And my idea is that we have to go to conferences, more conferences, 8 conferences. Okay. Playoff expansion is inevitable. It's going to happen. I know a lot of the talking heads on ESPN and stuff, they don't like, the playoff expansion, or all the experts out there. They think there's too many teams already with 12. But I think if you get rid of the committee, then you have to go on the field. Going back to what we're talking about with Georgia Tech, NIL, all that stuff. It is professional football now.
Yeah.
Okay. It is not the old school college football, everybody gets an opinion and they get in. So you have to go to more of an NFL type model. When you hear like Nick Saban and all them talk about, fixing the calendar, having a collective bargaining agreement, they'll probably unionize the players, having a commissioner. They need to do all that. And that because it is professional football now.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you do that, then you have to have more of a professional model as far as making playoffs and stuff like that. I'm not saying you do it exactly like the NFL, obviously. You still want it to be like college football.
Yeah. But
you have to, if you could divide up the conferences to make them smaller. I'm a Notre Dame fan, okay?
Join a conference.
Because of they're super conferences. Money. It's the same reason. Notre Dame has been able to survive on their brand alone, and they haven't had the need to join a conference. Now, as a Notre Dame fan, before the super conferences, I actually wanted them to join a conference because I don't like it when they would lose like before we had the expanded playoffs. They lost one game, their season was over.
True.
They were going to be held accountable for not being in a conference and getting into the 4-man playoff, 14 playoff they had. So I actually liked it. The one year when they played in the ACC during the COVID year, it was more fun to watch them because they had something more to play for, even if they lost a game. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? So under my model, they're in a conference. Okay. Everybody's in a conference. You have 8 conferences. And then I would take the top 3 teams in each conference are automatically bidded into the playoff system. Okay. So there's no committee, under my, so that's going to give you 24 teams. Okay. The top 8 get a bye, just like they do in the FCS. And then the bottom 16 play each other, and then they play tournament style, all the way through.
Mhm.
And the only time there will ever need to be a committee would be the first time you do it, where they come up with the ranking system on how you rank 1 through 24. Okay. And there'd be a lot that goes into it, like strength of schedule, the strength of your opponent's schedule. I was telling Brett, I was texting with Brett the other day, and it's like, you know, there's a lot of analytic nerds out there. There's a lot of former coaches. You could stick them all into a room together, and they could come up with the criteria to rank all the teams 1 through 24. Okay. And so once you have the ranking, that one time we know what the rankings are, they'll play out the schedule. So if just because you're, 1 year conference doesn't mean you're going to get a bye if you're in a weak conference. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and also because there's more playoff games, I'm going to 11 game schedule. So you're get rid of your, playing your, Alabama playing Mercer and stuff like that. They can still play them if they want, but it would affect their strength of schedule maybe, But I'm also, because I don't like the bowl system as it is now,
Yeah.
because there's too many bowls. Nobody watches them. Nobody cares about them except the teams like Georgia Tech fans are going to watch the Pop-Tart Bowl,
Mhm.
right? Okay, well, nobody else. If you're not a Georgia Tech fan, there's not going to be a lot of people who are going to watch the Pop-Tart Bowl, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a playoff system, everybody's going to watch a lot of playoff games, right?
That's
But
true.
you don't have to get rid of the bowls. You can move the bowls to the first game of the year, and then you go back to the old tie-ins like you used to have, like where the Pac-10 champ plays the Big Ten champ.
I like that. I
That
like that.
makes
I like
sense.
that.
And then that also is going to help everybody's strength of schedule, because when you have your conference tie-ins to these bowl games, then the first team from this conference is going to play the first team from that conference, and then the second team, like you can have the SEC East champ play in the Sugar Bowl against the Big 12 champ, or the Big 12 champ plays the Fiesta Bowl against the SEC West champ or something, and then twos can cross over and stuff. Like if you go back into the 80s and 90s when we had all the bowl tie-ins, that was fun. Especially that was a lot more fun as a fan of your team being in certain bowls, because it meant something to go to those bowl games. It doesn't mean anything anymore now.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. The players do not care about going to the bowl games.
Well, they're selfish.
And it's because the money, everybody's getting paid. But this also, I would also do it with a group of 5. Like, why can't the group of 5 have their own playoff system also, and they can have a national champ? Would you not like to see Hawaii play Buffalo for the
Yeah.
national championship? Does
Yeah.
that
They
make
could.
sense?
They
Pretty
could.
cool.
It
You're
could
right.
happen. It literally could happen. Under the current system, never going to happen, right? Never going to happen. And that gives you more playoff games to be on television, to be than there is in the bowl.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's a lot. Yeah. Interesting. I like the Bulls in the beginning of the year because they're complaining about non-conference schedule and all that stuff. Will now make it where you have to play someone in another whatever. Group of 5 I like as well. I don't know about the 6 years of eligibility, but my last question before we do predictions: are you in favor of like a Premier League style, or if a program like Hawaii or grows, they move up and down like relegation style? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. Interesting. If only it was that easy. But before we finish, yeah, yeah. D- It could work. But before we go, time flies. Playoff predictions so far. What do we think is going to happen? First up, Oregon versus James Madison. Real quickly, just name the team. Oregon. Tulane, Ole Miss. Tulane. And then when they win, you can't keep them out. Go group of 5. Um, Miami at Texas A&M. I got Miami because Marcel Reed won't get it done. The Miami defense underrated. And then Oklahoma hosts Alabama. Yeah. Boomer sooner. Mateer's healthier. So I'll take them. Hopefully our predictions will be right. We'll see. It's gonna be fun college football. I think next time we come on, Georgia will be knowing their opponent, and we'll figure all that out. But thank you for coming on, Uncle Chris Parker. It's been a pleasure as always. We will. Oh, don't worry. We try to get Jess. We're gonna get a whole bunch of people. Keep going, because only Georgia boys can talk Georgia sports. But Uncle Chris, thank you, Coach Coach Walker Parker. Been a pleasure. I've been Red Rocket.